Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is me, Allie. Today I have a video that is so near and dear to my heart. This is a video that I've been wanting to film for probably close to 6 months now. Today's video, I'm going to be sharing everything that I learned in my first year of being a mom, everything that I learned in my first year of motherhood. Now, I know these types of videos are not very popular on my channel. I don't have a family channel, and I'm not quite sure a lot of people even watch this video, but even if just one mother or mother-to-be watches this video and finds some comfort, my job is done. I have so much that I want to share with you, the highs, the lows, and everything in between, and I really hope that you guys are interested in seeing this kind of content. If you have any other questions or concerns after watching this video, make sure to ask them in the comments below. And without further ado, I have an entire list compiled on my phone of things that I want to talk about, and we're just going to get right on into it. So normally with these types of sit-down chit-chat videos, I don't always have a plan in place. However, this time around, I definitely have an extensive list of things that I want to talk about. So I'm just going to start talking about them from top to bottom. This is not a sequential list in the sense that what I'm going to talk about first is the most important and what I'm going to talk about last is the least important. I actually find them all to be equally as important. So let's just get started. The first thing that I wanted to express in this video is to talk with your partner before you guys decide to become parents about what you want to expect out of parenthood. Now, it is no surprise that your entire life changes when you become a parent, and I just think it is so important to talk to your partner while you're pregnant, before you're even thinking about conceiving, about what you want to see out of parenthood. I feel like if you have a talk with your partner and talk about like the pros and the cons, the wants and the dislikes of becoming a parent, a mother or a father, it is going to alleviate a lot of the chaos. Adam and I talked, and we definitely didn't see eye to eye with every single aspect, but we were able to kind of like understand each other's point of view when it came to parenthood, and we're able to come up with a plan. I say that with air quotes because obviously when you become a parent, that whole plan sometimes gets thrown out the window and you just kind of have to like figure it out as you go. But it was so important that we actually had things in place before we actually became parents to kind of feel a little less stressed. We got to talk about like how we wanted to raise Landon, traditions we wanted to have with Landon, things that we wanted to do with Landon, things that we definitely didn't want to do with Landon, and the things that we didn't see eye to eye on, we were able to kind of like talk about and compromise. So definitely talk with your partner before you guys become parents. It is just going to alleviate so much of that chaos. This next one is going to be pretty deep, but we are just going to be hitting the ground running. I think one of the most important things that a mother/new mother can do, especially right after having a baby, is talking to a therapist. Now, I know that's kind of controversial. I wish it wasn't so controversial. I wish it was more natural, but I think talking to a therapist right after having a baby is one of the most important things that you can do. Your hormones are so imbalanced right after having a baby, and you can feel so many emotions, and it is really hard to navigate through all of those emotions all at once, especially considering they are at home now with a baby who's probably crying and trying to figure out the world, and you're trying to figure out becoming a mother for the first time, or even like for the 8th, 9th, or 10th time. I really think that it is important to talk to a therapist. I can tell you right here, right now, I was the happiest person going into having Landon, and within 2 days of having Landon, I started feeling really depressed, really sad, really anxious, and I could not figure out why. I ended up calling a therapist and they saw me almost immediately. That's another really important thing to mention. Flashback about 3 years, I actually saw a therapist 3 years ago for my anxiety, and I will be the first one to tell you that I've called therapist upon therapist upon therapist, and I was feeling really anxious 3 years ago, and it took almost 2 months to actually get to see a therapist. It was terrible. The wait is insane, but I will tell you, as a new mother, they really make it a priority for you to talk to a therapist. After like, I think it was 5 days after having Landon, I was feeling just so imbalanced, and I couldn't deal with my emotions, and I called to talk to somebody about wanting to see a therapist, and I was seen within 4 days. So they definitely take postpartum extremely serious. They should take anything seriously, but when it comes to postpartum, they take it so seriously. I called my OBGYN, I talked to my midwife, and within 5 days I saw a therapist, and it was life-changing. I ended up seeing that therapist for over 2 months, and it just really helped me to kind of like really balance out everything that I was feeling. And within a couple of months, I started feeling like myself again. If I could flash back 20 months ago and take this advice from myself, the advice I'm going to give you right now, I would have made postpartum so much easier on myself. The next thing that I want to share with you is to take help if it is being offered for you. I don't know why as new moms we feel like we have to be this like Pinterest super mom. I'm just going to be the one to tell you they don't exist. It just doesn't exist. I know a lot of new moms just are too proud and they want to feel like they can do it all, raise the baby, do the cooking, do the cleaning, just taking care of themselves, taking care of the family. Why? If you have help that is being offered to you, take that help. It is so important to take the help that is being offered to you, whether it is somebody coming over to cook a meal for you, somebody coming over to watch the baby for a couple of hours so you can take a nap, whether it is somebody coming over to clean the house for you. Take that help. Do not be too proud. If somebody is willing to help you, take the help. I cannot stress that enough. And I also just want to share with you, I'm going to try to find the website. I can't guarantee that I can find the website, but I was watching a YouTube video a really long time ago. This was like before I even had Landon. Again, I did like a lot of planning and prepping before I had Landon, but I watched a video talking about mom groups. So I am aware that not everybody has the support that everybody else has, and that breaks my heart. So if you are somebody who is a single mom, you don't really have family around, you don't really have a lot of friends, you might have moved somewhere, you're kind of all alone and you're by yourself with the baby, there are these things called mom groups, and I have to again try to find the website. If not, I'm sure you can just Google it, and I'm pretty sure every single state has them. It's a group of people that you can connect with that are on the same journey with you around the same time. So whether you have a 3-month-old, you would put in like your area, how old your kids are, and like what you want to see out of that group. And there are these groups of moms that kind of like come together. I know that there's some on Facebook just to like support each other. And I know some of those groups have like swap days where, say there are 5 of you in a group. One of you would have a night off, so you would bring the baby to the other 4 people's house or the toddler, and they would watch your baby while you give yourself like a coffee date or a spa date or just a day to take a nap by yourself. So of course you have to feel comfortable with that, and I'm not telling anybody to like leave their child with somebody they don't feel comfortable with. A lot of these mom groups, they become like really great friends, they become really good like confidants and companions. So if you don't have the support, try to find it elsewhere, whether it's through a mom group or just any other place you can try to find the support. But if somebody is willing to help you, try to take that help. Self-care is so important. One more time for the people in the back. Self-care is so damn important. I am going to be reading you exactly what I typed out here on the list. I said self-care is so important, all in caps. Make yourself a priority and give yourself some you time. Schedule it in your daily, weekly, or even monthly routine. You are a mom now, but you were a human first. That is a quote that I heard early on after I had Landon, and it stuck with me like glue. So I'm going to talk again about a specific situation that happened to me. I'm not sure if this is like true for everyone, but I'm pretty sure it's very true for a lot of new moms. I again was way too proud to have any sort of self-care for myself within the first couple of months after having Landon. I felt like I again had to do it all. I had so many people offering to help me, and I just would not take the help. Even my husband, who is the best father in the entire world, would constantly be like, just go to Starbucks for a little bit, go for a walk by yourself, go get a pedicure, go do all of these things. And I just could not summon up the courage to do it, because I think I can't like speak exactly because that whole entire first couple of months is such a blur, but I think I was so scared and people were going to judge me. Like I would go to Starbucks and see somebody that I knew, and I would be by myself, and somebody would be like, oh my God, you're already getting a coffee without your baby? Like, didn't you just have a baby 3 months ago? I wish I could like talk to my past self right now and tell her everything that I know now. But first and foremost, I'm pretty sure nobody is going to be judging you like that. It is most likely all in your head. And if they are going to judge you, let them judge. Because again, you are a mom, but you were a human first. It is so important to put yourself first. I cannot stress this enough. I hate when I see people and they're like, oh, well, nobody cares about me anymore. It's not about me anymore. I don't matter anymore. I'm a mom now. You should matter more now than you have ever mattered in your entire life. I am a true believer that you cannot be the best mom that you possibly can be if you are not the best version of yourself that you possibly can be. And you cannot be the best version of yourself if you do not give yourself any time. The better you are feeling, the better everything else is going to fall into place. So take time for yourself, even if it's just like 20 minutes a day, 20 minutes a week, a half hour a day, a half hour a week, whatever it might be, however it works into your schedule, take the time. I think it took me almost 3 months to actually do something without Landon, and that is 3 months, way too long. After I finally said, you know what, I'm going out, I'm gonna go for a walk by myself, excuse me, I'm gonna get a coffee, I'm just gonna do something that I wanna do, take a drive to Target by myself, give myself a half hour of the day. My mental clarity started getting so much better. I started feeling like myself again. I started feeling like a human again. I started feeling like a person again. I am a mom first always, but I still am a human. And those need to be very close because again, you have to be the best version of yourself to be the best mother that you can be. The best mother that you can be. Yes. I'm going to keep this next one short and sweet because I could talk about this subject for hours. So I'm going to keep it very short and sweet. The next thing that I wanted to talk about in this video is to take advice, and you're going to get a lot of it. You're going to get it from friends. You're going to get it from family. You're going to get it from strangers at the supermarket. Take advice from others with a grain of salt. You are the mom, and you know what is best. And if you make mistakes along the way, which you most likely will, they are opportunities to learn and grow. And that is all I'm going to say about that one, because I will get very heated about the kind of advice that people think that they should give to you. Just take it with a grain of salt. Okay, the next thing that I want to talk about is very serious. I know I was kind of like half joking and being a little sassy in the last piece of advice, but this next one I want to be really serious. This next one is pretty vulnerable for me, and it is that breast is not best. Fed is best. I think that this was one of the hardest things that I had to come to terms with in my entire life, not even just in parenthood, in my entire life. I'm getting like a little emotional right now. I think that breastfeeding was the hardest thing that I ever did in my entire life. Like, I'm still getting a little emotional about this right now. I was very fake about it on social media, and I just wanted to come clean about it. I would go on social media and say that breastfeeding was the best experience, and it was the most beautiful bonding experience that I ever had, and it was the best thing for my child. And inside, I was absolutely dying. I was absolutely withering away through breastfeeding. I ended up breastfeeding my son for 10 months. I wanted to go a full year, but thinking about it now, I probably should have breastfed him for a month. I think most of my postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety came from breastfeeding. It was the hardest thing I have ever done in my entire life. Now, I just want to throw away like a couple of takeaways. It was also very beautiful in its own aspect. I really did feel that bond with my son, and I really loved that whole entire journey of breastfeeding, but breastfeeding did not come easy for me at all. It was a constant struggle. I dreaded having to go on the pump. I didn't dread having to like breastfeed my child, but I dreaded knowing that I wasn't able to give him what he needed. I had a low supply. Almost immediately after I had Landon, I hemorrhaged really bad. When I had him at the hospital, I lost a ton of blood, and it just affected my milk supply, or just maybe my milk supply just never was meant to be really large. I had so much pressure on myself to breastfeed, and I had this whole entire expectation versus reality, and it just did not pan out for me. I should have stopped breastfeeding him. Again, after a month, I tried it, it didn't work, and I forced myself to do it because I had to breastfeed. And the bottom line is you don't have to breastfeed. Formula is just as good. I will tell you from experience with me, some people have it very easy, and if we have another baby, I'm going to try to breastfeed, and if it comes easy to me, awesome. If it doesn't, I'm done right away. I'm going right to formula. I can tell you that within days of stopping breastfeeding and deciding to go like full formula, my mental clarity had blossomed. It was a really bad time for me. Anytime I had to breastfeed, I just felt so negative inside because I knew that my son would come off of the breast and still be really hungry because I didn't have enough to give him, and then I felt like I was less than. It was really, really tough for me. So if you're somebody like me who it is really tough for, definitely have that conversation with yourself, with your midwife, with your OBGYN, come up with a plan on how to feed your child, but understand that breast is not best. I hate that stigma. Breast is great, don't get me wrong, but it is not best. Fed is best, and if you're feeding your child, you are doing it, mama. Give yourself a round of applause. I did just want to end this with like one little story. I would say about 6 months in, I was at Landon's 6-month appointment. I was going through a really, really emotional time. And when you go to the doctor after having a baby, they constantly make you fill out like a sheet. It's an emotional sheet or like a mental health scan. The doctor will give it to you, the pediatrician, and you fill it out as a mom, how you were feeling. And I remember just filling everything out, saying like I was really sad at the time, I was really depressed, I was feeling really emotional, I was in a really weird place at that time. And then the pediatrician called me and he said like, hey, we saw your mental health screen and we just wanted to talk to you and see like if there's anything we can do, if we can set you up with a therapist. And I remember talking to him about the whole breastfeeding thing, and he had said something that stuck with me. I love this quote. Now, he is a doctor. He is one of the best doctors in Rhode Island. We are so blessed to have him. He is the best pediatrician we could ever ask for. And he told me a story about his 2 daughters. So he has 2 daughters, and he said the first daughter he breastfed, well, he didn't, but his wife breastfed for 2 years. She latched on perfectly. It was a great experience. The second daughter would not latch on. Within a month, they stopped breastfeeding her and they formula fed her. And then he ended by saying, do you know what my kids do now? I was like, oh no. And they go, oh, they're both doctors. So I was like, wow. That hit me so hard when I heard that. One was breastfed her entire like milk giving journey. One was pretty much formula fed the entire time, and they're both doctors. They're both intelligent, they're both smart, they both develop perfectly fine. And after you talked to me about that, it really just like struck a chord with me, and it kind of aligned like all of the gears in my mind, and I really started feeling better after I heard that. After I heard that, I started going like half formula and half breast, and then after 10 months we just did formula completely. So that was a little story time for me. That is my, again, specific story. It is not going to apply to everyone, but breast is not best. Fed is best. And if you are feeding your child, mama, you are doing it. Next one kind of goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. Mom guilt is the absolute worst. Be easy on yourself. Be as easy on yourself that you can possibly be. Let's talk about the internet. The internet can be a beautiful, beautiful, blissful place for new moms, and it can also be the scariest place on earth. I think when it comes to the internet, my advice would be to give yourself some boundaries, to know when to log off. So there are 2 sides to this one. You can go on the internet as a new mom and you can look at mommy blogs and you can feel really inspired and you can learn a lot and you can feel connected to other moms across the world. I personally was looking at mommy blogs from people in Australia, Canada, London, United States, like all over the world. It was really nice to have like my core group of friends and family that I could talk to here, but also kind of learn and lean on other moms from all across the world. However, there are times that you go on and you read those mommy blogs and you feel a little bit less than. You feel like you're not doing enough. Like, why isn't this working for me and it worked for this person? For me, that was a lot to do with breastfeeding and a lot to do with like sleep training. Landon was not always the best sleeper. It took many a moons to get him into a little routine, and I remember reading like all these blogs at first and I was feeling so inspired by them, and then other ones I would read and I would feel so low and so bad about myself, like I wasn't doing something right. So I wish I knew back then what I know now, to log off when I'm feeling a little overwhelmed with the internet. Again, it can be a beautiful place and I have learned so much. I actually had no clue what Montessori was before I even had Landon, and just doing like internet searches, I learned about Montessori learning. And if you've seen any of my playroom tours, that's kind of like the play structure that we use with Landon, and I love it so much, and I'm so grateful for the internet for that. But there are other things that I would go on the internet and I remember just like crying, not even feeling low. I would just bawl my eyes out and cry, like ugly cry, after reading certain blogs or certain like forums. So definitely give yourself some boundaries when it comes to the internet. If you're feeling at all overwhelmed with what you are reading, just log off and just know that every baby has their own path for life, and it might not happen right away, but eventually it'll all just fall into place. I can thank my postpartum therapist for this next one, and I have thanked her multiple times when I used to see her for this next one. It is to show your baby a range of emotions. It is okay, let me repeat that. It is okay to cry in front of your baby. It helps babies to comprehend coping mechanisms. Mommy was sad, now she's happy again. I might be sad from time to time, but then I can be happy again. A lot of the sessions that I had with my therapist was talking about I just didn't know how to like handle my emotions. She would ask me like how I would feel, and I would say that I was like really sad and I felt like I wanted to cry, but I would hold it all inside of me until my husband came home, and then he would take Landon and I would go into the bathroom and just like cry, and she would say, why are you bottling it up? Like, why don't you just cry in front of Landon, get it out, and then you can feel better? And I would say like I didn't want Landon to see me being sad. I didn't want Landon like growing up thinking like mommy was sad. And she said like that was ridiculous. She didn't say ridiculous, she was very professional, but she did leave it to my camera to die while I'm talking about being vulnerable and being sad postpartum. Camera, you the real MVP. So yeah, like I was saying, my therapist would talk to me about the psychology behind it and how important it is to actually show your babies those range of emotions, because it really helps them with coping strategies. So I cry in front of my baby can tell that I'm feeling sad. And then within like an hour or so, I'm laughing with my baby because I'm feeling better. Hey, mommy did X, Y, and Z and it helped her to feel better. So if I'm sad in the future, I can do X, Y, and Z and I can feel better. It's okay to be sad because I can eventually hopefully feel happy again later. That, when I tell you, was better than anything that I learned in the 4 years that I went to college. That helped me so much. And after that, I was really, really apt to just be extremely emotional in front of Landon. And I don't mean like emotionally sad, I mean like laughing in front of him, smiling in front of him, being sad in front of him, crying in front of him from time to time, joking around with him, being angry, like showing him all these ranges of emotion. It is so important. And now that he is just about 20 months old, I can tell that he is able to use those ranges of emotion. When he gets upset, he can show that he's angry. When he's happy, he laughs so much. When he's happy, he's smiling. When he's sad, he does cry, and he knows this. I love this part so much because this is another thing that my therapist talked to me about. We actually talked about Inside Out, the Disney Pixar movie. And when I tell you, I love this therapist, and I will be seeing her again right after I have my next baby, if we are blessed enough to have another one. She would talk to me about like the psychology behind Inside Out, and it was so important. I notice now when Landon like falls or hits himself or hurts himself or is feeling angry, he's really sad, he cries, he comes over to mama or dad, we hug him, we caress him, we like rub his back, we talk to him, and then we'll say, are you okay? And he'll say, yep, and then he's smiling again. So he knows that he is sad. A coping strategy for him is to come to mama or dada, and then he can be happy again. Whew, that was a long one, but I think it was worth every single thing that I said. Don't be afraid to show your child emotions. It's really, really important for their development, and it shows them that you're a human as well. You're not just like the smiley robot that can do everything. You're a human too. The next one is also kind of controversial. The next thing that I learned in the first year of being a new mom is that sleep training is hard, y'all. It is so hard. If you do a quick little Google search of sleep training, you will get about 1 billion different articles suggesting 1 billion different ways to sleep train your child, from really gentle approach of not having your child cry it out at all the way up to a pretty extreme approach where you let your child cry it out for the entire night. There are so many different ways to sleep train your child, and I do think it is very important to sleep train your child. I think it is very important that your child knows how to fall asleep on their own as well as stay asleep. If they wake up in the middle of the night, they know how to soothe themselves back to sleep. I think it is extremely important that your child develops really good sleep habits. However, the way that you get there should be completely on your own. Do a Google search, talk to your pediatrician. I think talking to your pediatrician would be the best option before you go to the internet. But then if you don't agree with your pediatrician, you can of course look for different ways online. You can pay for people to help give you like a guide on how to sleep train. You can do it all on your own. We personally did the, I believe it's called Ferber method. It is what our pediatrician suggested, and it worked really, really well for us. The short of it is that you put your child to sleep somewhat drowsy, like not completely awake, not completely sleeping, just somewhat drowsy, you put them down. At the beginning, I will tell you, it's going to take at least a week, sometimes 2 weeks for this to work, and you just need to stick it out. But you'll put your child to sleep and they're going to start crying. They're going to start screaming. They want you to pick them up. So you go back in after a minute. You just rub the back. You don't pick them up, and you rub the back and say, oh, it's nighttime, Landon. Like, we're going to go to sleep. We're right here. We're in the next room. You're not alone. And then you leave the room. Then they're going to continue crying. So then you go in after 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, you do the exact same thing. Then you go back after 5 minutes, then you go back after 7 minutes. There's like a whole entire like schedule to follow. And as the days go on, the time gets a little extended. And for Landon, I think it was just about a week, maybe a week and a half. And then he started sleeping pretty much through the night. So that was our method. I know it's not everybody's method, but I would say that it's very important for your child to learn how to sleep and develop those sleeping habits independently. But how you get there should be completely on your own and how you feel best for your child. Next one is kind of a piggyback on something I already talked about in this video, but I'm just going to read it because I wrote it down, and I guess at the time I thought it was really important to add in here twice. It is that everyone's journey is different. Try to compare less, try to be in the moment more, which is going to segue me perfectly into the next thing I want to talk about. Be in the moment. It is 2020. It is so easy to just pick up your phone and scroll on the internet for hours and be on your phone on social media, calling people, whatever it may be, texting. It is so easy to just lose yourself in your phone. But the hours, the minutes, the days, the weeks that you have with your child as a baby, as a toddler, you're never going to get those back. And trust me, you do not want to remember looking back and you being on the phone all the time. I mean, of course, if you need to use it once in a while, that's completely fine. But I would really suggest just living in the moment. Definitely take pictures as much as you can, videos, remember those moments, but try to be as present and in the moment with your child as you possibly can. All they want is just a happy mama or dada to love them and play with them, and they just want to be with you and they want to be present with you. Take a hard left out of parenthood, and we're going to talk about something that is really important between you and your spouse. The next piece of advice would be to date your partner and fall in love over and over and over, and I repeat, and over again. It is so easy to lose sight of your relationship after you have a child. You are tired, you are at times very overwhelmed, you have nearly as much time for yourself as you used to in the past, but it is really important to continue to date your partner and fuel that passion, fuel that love, and make sure that you guys are still a priority in each other's life. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go on these extravagant date nights all the time. If you have somebody to watch your child like once a month and do a nice little date night, by all means, that would be amazing. But you can also do date nights at home. A lot of times for Adam and myself, when our son goes to sleep, we will schedule or we'll plan out like little like at-home date nights. So our son will be sleeping upstairs and we cook together, or we bake together, or we play board games, or we'll watch a TV show that we want to watch, or sometimes we have like cleaning date nights. I know it sounds lame, but it's actually really fun. We'll put music on, we'll clean together, we'll dance together, we'll sing together, we'll do like new things. It's really important to date your partner. Like I had mentioned previously in this video, before you were a parent, you were a human first. Well, before you were a parent, if you have a spouse, you had that spouse there first as well. And it's really important to just keep that spark alive. You don't ever want to get to the place, and I know it happens to like far too many, and it's happened to us plenty of times in the first year of being parents, where we would put Landon to sleep and then we would both jump on the couch and we're just on the phone all night, not even talking to each other. It kind of could feel like you're living with a roommate and sometimes, and that is not what I personally want out of my relationship. So again, have that communication. If you ever feel like you're in a place in your relationship where it's not what you want it to be, just talk with your partner and come up with a plan together. We would talk and openly say, you know, this is what I want to see. And a lot of times Adam would even tell me like, you know, I'm at work all day and then I'm with Landon all day, and sometimes I just need that time to decompress. And that kind of like sparked with me like, you know what, we both need time to ourselves. And then we decided that we definitely both need time together as well. So give yourself some time to yourself, but also make sure that you're making your relationship a priority. It is super important. Two more things I want to talk about in this video. This next one is really a piggyback off of a bunch of different things that I've talked about in this video. It is allow your baby to see you being affectionate with your partner. This is something that Adam and I do all the time. We are hoping to be the parents that Landon grows up to be like, ew, stop doing that. But we will kiss in front of Landon all the time. We will hug each other in front of Landon all the time. We will cuddle on the couch in front of Landon and with Landon all the time. When he's having dinner and he's in his high chair, we will dance sometimes together. We will kiss each other. We'll be like really affectionate in front of him. And we just think that's really important to show Landon that his parents like really love each other, and he's coming from a house of so much love. We will do it with Landon all the time. I mean, this might be a little bit TMI, but we'll constantly like, I'll hold Landon and Adam will be over here and Adam will kiss me and he'll just like keep his lips on me, and Landon kind of like sits there like, ew, are you gonna stop? And there's a lot of times he'll like put his hand in between our faces and like push us off. It's just the best memories. We finally got him to a point where like Adam and I will kiss and then we'll be like, oh, kiss us, and he puts his lips into. Oh, it's the best ever. I love it so much. But yes, definitely be affectionate with your partner in front of your child. It's very important for the development. Trying to say is, I think it is very important for your child to see you being affectionate with your partner. I personally think it's really great for their development to know that they are coming from a house where there is so much love. That is what I was trying to say. I feel like everything I'm saying right now is kind of jumbled. I've been talking in front of a camera, I want to say, for just about an hour now. So I think my brain is a little fried, which means we're gonna move on to the last piece of advice that I wanted to share in this video. Here we go. The last piece of advice is so basic, but something that is tried and true. It's kind of like, don't fix something that is not broken. It is something that I heard a million times before becoming a mom, and it is something that I truly believe in now that I am a mom. It is to make memories, take all of the pictures, make all of the videos, just make all of the memories. The days are long, but the years are short. I used to hate that quote more than anything, but there's a reason why it is one of the most popular parenting quotes, because it is so true. I look back now and I'm like, how is my son gonna be 20 months in a couple of days? He was just in my belly like a day ago. Like it goes by really fast. So again, the days may seem really long, but the years are so short. Make all the memories and just live your very best parenting dream with your child. And that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed it. I hope this video was able to give you even just a little bit of clarity. That was my whole goal and end point of filming this video. And again, I really hope that you guys enjoyed watching. I truly appreciate all of you guys from the bottom of my heart. If you have a mom-to-be friend, if you know somebody who's trying to get pregnant, hopefully you can share with them this video, and again, hopefully it will bring them a little bit of mental clarity as well. I love you guys to the moon and back. I hope that you're having an amazing day, and I look forward to talking to you all soon. Moms out there, I just want to end by giving you a big hug.